What is happening, Moolah Nation? Jason Shepard here. So great to see you. We're diving now into day four. Day four of the Moolah Challenge. We've been spending these past 3 days, and hopefully you've been watching the videos each morning. And then, of course, participating in these live streams in the evenings as well. Hey to YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Good to see all of you all out there. We've been building up day one, day two, day three, these reps in the gym. Talk about the financial mindset, which I realize is a different way to think about things a little bit. And today we start to get into the tactical aspect of things. Now we start to really dive into this. So it's going to help you all out so much. Great to see you all out there. Say hey in the comments. I've got the TikTok chat pulled up here as well. I've got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram pulled up. So reach out and say hey as well. Before I do that, Gavin has been wanting to come over. Yesterday, you remember, Ella hit the like and subscribe button. Gavin wants to hit the like and subscribe button today. So Gavin, coming over. Hey, Hunter, good to see you. All right, you ready, Gavin? Yep, go for it. I mean, how could you not like and subscribe when Gavin hits the like and subscribe button? It's just that important. By the way, these are Sophia's babysitters as well. So Sophia, she's taking a nap right now. If she wakes up, those two are on it because Mama is out right now. But anyways, great to see you all in here. Hunter says, hey, Gavin. Any words you want to say back? Hi. They say hey. They say hey right back at you. They do like a fist bump. You know, they're cool kids, right? Tonight, we're diving into the fact that debt can be stealing your future. We spent days 1, 2, and 3 diving into the mindset. Hunter, you remember we were talking about building that abundance mindset, always thinking bigger, realizing that nothing is beneath me. That's really the focus of that. Now it's time to get our hands dirty, and it's time to get in the practical aspect of things. Now, I shared with you all that I don't believe all debt is bad. We talked about that on the money myths, day 2. And one of the myths that people believe is debt is always bad. And I'm not, I respect like a Dave Ramsey greatly, but I am not Mr. like anti-debt. Don't ever have any debt. Just have cash and a debit card, and that's it. You know, it's really, really hard to buy everything cash. I realize that as well. I'm kind of somewhere in between that. What I like avoiding is bad debt. What do I mean by bad debt? Credit cards. We're going to talk about that here. We'll probably start with that. High interest rate mortgages, not crazy about it. Auto loans. I'll let you get an auto loan, but we're going to talk about the terms that we're willing to accept. And we'll talk about it too. I realize that's a very intimidating thing to do, even to walk into a car dealership. It can be very intimidating to go do that and deal with all of that sometimes. So anyways, let's dive into it here because debt can be stealing your future that you should be investing, that you should be building an emergency fund, that you should be saving, all these different aspects. That is what's so crucial. Hey, Austin, great to see you back on here again. So let's start with credit card debt. Now, as I shared, I think I shared this day 1, maybe it was day 2. I think it was even you that asked, Austin, do you even have credit cards? And the answer is, yeah, I have 2. I use an American Express Platinum card. And then I have like a Barclays card just because it's a MasterCard and not everybody takes Amex, as you know. There's Hunter over on TikTok. I see you now, Hunter. So yes, I have credit cards, 2 of them. But I pay them off every single month. And that's the hard part. I actually just watched a Dave Ramsey interview not too terribly long ago he did with Tucker Carlson. And Tucker asked him, you know, is it true? Like, what is wrong with credit cards if people pay them off every single month? And Dave Ramsey had a good response. He said, the problem is most people don't. To most people, it sounds like a good idea, but then the first of the month comes or that credit card due date comes, and boy, that minimum payment looks enticing. Who's ever been there before? Well, if you've been following Moolah for any amount of time, you saw one of our more popular videos. I ran a scenario, and the scenario was, hey, I don't remember the exact number, I've got $5,000 in credit card debt. I think the average credit card debt balance is like $5,500. So are you above average or are you below average, right? We need to maybe talk about that. $5,500, a 27% interest rate. And then I added something interesting. You make the minimum payment of, $100, let's say, but you continue to charge just $50, each month on it, which seems like, $50 seems like nothing, right? I ran that through ChatGPT, everyone's best friend. And it ended up saying, first off, it was thinking forever and ever. ChatGPT doesn't do a whole lot of thinking, depending on which model you're actually using. It's doing this thinking. The calculation is taking longer than expected. It's working through all of this. And eventually it says, I've calculated a number that basically is infinite and says, if you're only making the minimum payment and continuing to pay, even though the minimum payment's greater than what you're adding to it, because of compound interest, you will never pay off your credit card. You see, we often just look at, if I only pay the minimum and I stop paying everything, stop charging that card, it's going to take me 27 years or whatever it is. There's calculators for that. You'll be hard pressed to find a calculator that says I make my minimum, and by the way, I keep charging on that card. That's where you end up getting in trouble. By the way, Austin, great job. Said he's below on that 5,500. I love that. I absolutely love that. And again, it's okay to sit in the corner a little bit and not share if you're above or whatever it is. That's totally fine. Hunter says, I hear the Peter Griffin singing the credit card debt. So I am not familiar with this song. Clearly, I've got some homework after this now, Hunter. It's very important, I guess. So credit card debt. There is a reason there is Bank of America Stadium, right? There's a reason. Like, you have these huge buildings. Like, you are the product when you make the minimum payment faithfully and only pay, just let the 27% interest roll and go from there. That is how you can get yourself in trouble, and you're making these credit card companies that much richer. In reality, that money that you're paying, that you're giving to Bank of America, that you're giving to Wells Fargo, that you're giving to whomever, Amex, it doesn't matter, the card issuer, that is money you could be investing, saving, investing in your flight training dreams, in Austin and Hunter's case as well. And also, I haven't heard of that. I'd love to, maybe you can DM me a link or something. I'd love to see it. It is stealing your future. Because as you'll see, as we get into the mechanisms behind all this, I need you setting up an IRA. I need you to begin making smart investments. And I'm going to show you how my wife Magda and I have continually enjoyed that 8% average return in the S&P 500, how we eliminated our own credit card debt. And let me tell you, it was hard, especially early years of our business, growing that, and you accrue some debt sometimes. Those are the things you have to break through. If you are a victim of credit card debt right now, we've got to stop it. We have to pay down this debt, and as quickly as possible. Now, I'm okay with you even investing a little bit now. Like, it's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. And Austin, you're very right. He says, it's important to work together if you're married. Preach, right? That is the truth, that you're on the same page. That one isn't going to Saks all day and the other is going to Walmart to get the groceries, right? Like, there's some balance that needs to come into that. And that can be a challenge sometimes because my wife likes Saks, she's not watching right now, so it's okay. I can say that. You have to watch these sort of things though, right? It is so vitally important. And as we look at things like credit card debt, I typically teach what's called the debt snowball. What is the debt snowball? The debt snowball is a little bit counterintuitive. It says, Hunter, I want you to attack your smallest debt first and eliminate that. Most people want to go to the mountain. That's called the avalanche method. Let's pick the biggest one with the highest interest rate. Let's attack that one first. And I understand that. But more importantly, I understand the psychological win of paying off a debt, even though it was your smallest one. Go get that, that care credit that when you had to get that crown or that cavity filled or whatever, and you just did care credit for whatever reason because it was 0% interest for 24 months, but 24 months go by awfully quick, right? Go pay that one off, because even care credit, well, they're a for-profit business and more power to them, right? I'm telling you, pay it off quickly, aggressively. Like you said in the comments, you're exactly right, Austin. Small victories create momentum. Think back to your flight training, right? There's a reason you solo kind of early sometimes, right? It's a small but big victory, but it's not the end. There's more to be done. You get that written test done. It's awesome. You give yourself the golf clap, but there's more to be done. Debt works the same way. The debt snowball in that case. Pay off the smallest, right? And work your way from there. If you want to be aggressive and go the avalanche method, I get it, but I'm telling you, psychologically, small victories create momentum. Hunter over on TikTok said, do people still shop at Saks? I've never seen one. You've met Magda. I know you have. So you have met someone who goes to Saks. And the problem is in Naples, we have Saks and Saks off Fifth, which is like their off-the-rack store. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. She also said, I thought you meant crown like you wear on your head. I was like, wow, I knew I shouldn't have bought that. I meant your teeth. Never had one. Thank goodness, right? Credit card debt is stealing your future. And I know it's so easy to use. And again, I'm going to say this one more time, then we'll move on to mortgages. I am okay with using credit cards. I have the American Express Platinum card because, yeah, it's a $500 annual fee, but I get more benefit from the perks that it gives and the reward points that I get back because we spend quite a bit running. Again, it's a business credit card, to be fair. We spend quite a bit on that business card to get quite a few points. Then Magda can go get her Saks gift cards with it. Is that fair, Hunter? And you pay it off each month. I like our Amex card that we have. This is not an ad for it by any means. It's a charge card, which means I have no option other than pay it off at the end of the month. Like when the bill is due, the bill is due. If you charge 10 grand, you owe 10 grand at the end of the month. Causes you to be a little more purposeful in your spending because there is no minimum payment. You pay that thing off, right? And Hunter, you're exactly right. Thank you for that. I'll make a screenshot that for her. She'll like that comment. Where'd my cursor go? She said Magda's a gem. Saved it. All right, let's talk mortgages. All right, show of hands. Who is thinking of buying a house soon? Maybe you're 2-3 years out. Gavin is raising his hand. Gavin's 7. Who is thinking about buying a house, say in the next 2, I'll even push out to 3 years. Over on TikTok, Hunter said, yes, me, but it's too expensive. I get it. And I'm we're going to dive into that a little more. Anybody else? Next 2-3 years, looking to buy, whether it's upgrading a house, downgrading a house, buying your first home, whatever that may be. I get it. Let's just talk about the current market right now. I love economics. You're right, Hunter. The market's expensive now. And it's not only expensive price-wise, because we still have that 2021, 2022, add 2023 in there, kind of where prices shot up so much. We are still feeling that, like these sellers are still believing they're going to get those prices. I just talked to a good buddy of mine that really has his pulse on real estate. He and I have done several investment properties before. And he was saying on average, the average selling price right now is about 18% off asking. That is the disconnect between the two. 18%, like that. take your, $300,000 house you want to get, Hunter, and take 18% off of it. Like, okay, that's a little bit nicer now, right? So look at that way as well. Now, the other aspect that is so expensive right now is I imagine most of you would be getting a mortgage. And I am not against mortgages. We have a mortgage, by the way. I'm not against a mortgage by any means. I am against a 6, 7, 8% plus mortgage. There's old real estate advice, and I kind of cringe when I hear it. And if you ever hear this, just cringe on the inside too. You'll hear some people say, you marry the house, you date the rate. What does that mean? Well, you marry the house, you fall in love with the house, but you date the interest rate because, well, interest rates are going to change. And of course, it's 8% now, but in 2-3 years, you refinance it, no problem. Let me tell you why this is a terrible lie and you should cringe. Because banks aren't stupid. And if you've ever seen an amortization schedule, you know that banks get their interest first. What do I mean? Let's say your first mortgage payment is $2,000. Some of you are saying, I wish my mortgage payment was $2,000. But let's just say for this example, your first mortgage payment is $2,000. I bet if you looked at an amortization calculator, 1,800 of that went to Bank of America, whoever did your mortgages, pockets, and 200 went to principal. And that cycle repeats itself, and it's ugly for the first 2 or 3 years. And then in 3 years, when you say, well, we've been paying this off, we've been paying $2,000 a month faithfully, and you go and you think you're going to refinance it, and you go, what do you mean on my $200,000 house, I still owe $195,000 after 3 years? How is that possible? You had an 8% interest rate, and interest is loaded up to the front because that's when the balance is the highest. That's how an amortization schedule works, and that's how annualized interest works. It compounds. In fact, at an 8% interest rate, that $200,000 house, someone do the math for me, I bet if you just made the minimum payments for over the 30-year period, that $200,000 house is probably a $500,000 house. And real estate on average appreciates at about 4.5% year over year. Again, bad years, 2008, good years, 2022, right? It averages out about 4% in there. You have to calculate this. So here is where the sweet spot happens, Hunter. You ready for this? If we just learned, and just, again, pay attention, bear with me. I'm sorry. Those of you who know me know I like math a little bit, and I can geek out a little bit. So if I'm getting too nerdy, reel me back in. If we just learned that real estate, on average, and when I say on average, I mean real estate from expensive like Hawaii to not so expensive West Virginia or Mississippi, right? Where housing is probably much more affordable. I'm talking average across and this is the United States, by the way. I realize we have an international audience. Across the United States, 4.5%. On average, that's the appreciation of real estate. Would you believe and understand that when your mortgage starts to kiss that 4% number, that yes, you're paying 4.5% interest, but your house, as it appreciates 4% annually as well, you're keeping pace. It's almost like keeping pace with inflation. You're keeping pace with that interest. Now, again, there's HOA fees. That AC is going to go one day. You're going to need a new roof. Like, it'd be very easy to fall behind the power curve, to use an aviation analogy for all my aviators watching this as well. It'd be very easy to do that as well. So it would behoove you, it would benefit you to not just pay the minimum. If you have a $2,000 mortgage, I want you to pay $2,500. Hunter, when you're shopping, please, please don't shop the payment. Don't shop the payment. You know what I did earlier this month? I'm a bit of a car guy, and I went up to the Mecum auto auctions. in Kissimmee, Florida. It's right up there, like Barrett Jackson kind of stuff. I didn't buy anything. I enjoy looking and seeing and just being with friends up there. And I saw something so interesting. Here we are, like these are collector cars. Like we're not selling a 2012 Dodge Ram. Nothing wrong with a Dodge Ram. It was one of my first cars. We are selling like classic collectibles, sports cars, everything else. And as they're going up on the auction block, because Mecum also does financing, it says, this is your monthly minimum payment. And I'm thinking, if these guys are buying collector cars and financing them and paying the minimum payment, but everybody has this mindset of, if I can afford the payment, I can afford the house. If I can afford the payment, I can afford the car. Think about it. Who's been to a car dealership recently? I bet if you walked into a car dealership, these sales guys, they're crafty. They're going to say, well, what kind of payment would you like? Where would you like to be at with your payment? Don't give them that answer, because you don't shop payments, because they can manipulate your trade-in value and tweak a few other little things, right? To get your payment exactly where you want it. But what they don't tell you is you're paying a killing on interest. You're falling behind that power curve right off the bat. So by the way, I love the Zillow app. And yes, I'm looking because my wife and I want a Tennessee mountain house. That's one of our goals. But I'm just looking. I'm just dreaming right now, because I'd like to use it as a rental property as well. I'd like to have a mortgage on it, because I don't want to take my money out of my brokerage account where I'm earning 8% to go put it into a 4% investment. That's not very wise. So what I'd rather do is mortgage it again, with a healthy down payment at an advantageous interest rate, cash flow on it to pay all those bills, right? Great game, by the way. Ellen, Gavin, you like the game Cash Flow? Yeah. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, made the game Cash Flow. The kids love it. It's a beautiful picture, Gavin. Gavin's drawn on my iPad too. Oh, I see it. It's the Moolah logo. Great job, Gavin. Cash flow on it and enjoy it as well. But even I'm waiting for interest rates to kiss that 4%, 4.5%. Watch real estate boom up. Interest rates keep coming down. Real estate will get back into some momentum here now. Here's my advice, right? Here's my advice right now. Sit chilly. Hunter, sit chilly. Those of you looking to buy a house right now, just sit. Go on Zillow and dream. Go to open houses on Sundays and dream with your spouse. I love that. Goes back to the abundance mindset we were talking about. Funny story. The house we're in today, my wife and I were just out dreaming, went into an open house, went through this house, and my wife looks at me and says, I want this house. Now, if you know my wife, like Hunter, you know my wife, you say, okay, how are we going to pull this thing off? Right. And it was months later where it all came to fruition, because the deal was right. When I'm looking for real estate, I'm looking for the deal. Now, I'm not looking to move us into a bad neighborhood or anything like that because it's a good deal. I'm looking for the right house in the right neighborhood. I don't want to just check boxes. Remember, we're building an abundance mindset. Never walk around a house and go, this checks all my boxes. No. You were called to live abundantly. It should check all the boxes and exceed your expectations. And then the deal needs to be right. That's how you have to look at all of this. Hunter said, side note, I love the light up table and the wall piece. Super cool looking. You know, I love my blues, right? Ella did the light up, she said. She did the light up. So I'm sitting on the sidelines right now when it comes to real estate. We have some rental properties. We have a renter checking in tomorrow, actually. Do very, very well on those. But we bought these in 2019, 2020. You look smart when you say that, but there's a lot of luck behind a lot. No one knew COVID was coming. No one knew what that would do to the market and everything else. Let's segue now because it's almost 8:30 and I don't want to keep you all up too late. I know y'all got bedtimes and stuff. Let's talk about auto loans here. I know you need safe, reliable transportation. But boy, I struggle with this one. You need safe, reliable transportation. But you don't need to put your family's finances in jeopardy to do that. The sweet spot to buy a car is about that 3-year mark. In fact, the past 2 cars we've bought have been used at that 3-year mark. We're currently kind of shopping now again, because at that 3-year mark, the most depreciation has already happened. Many manufacturers do a 5-year warranty, so you still have 2 years of warranty left. And fairly low miles, latest technology, very safe, life is good. In our house, we just don't buy new cars. Let somebody else take the hit, because here's the problem. You buy that new car for $60,000. Unfortunately, that's a realistic price, right? You buy that new car for $60,000. You finance it now, by the way, at 6%. We all have heard the phrase, and it's so true, this is not a myth, that when you drive it off the lot, it loses value. The actual number is about 8% as soon as it leaves the lot. Like, if you literally drove off the lot and turned back around and said, I'd like to trade this in now, it would be about 8% less than what you just paid for it. Well, you'd say, well, I want to sell it. I don't want to trade it. I want to sell it. Well, now you're going to pay state sales tax twice on the same day, right? That's not advantageous either. I shop in that really kind of 3-year mark. Yes, you need safe, reliable transportation, right? And Hunter, I'm with you. Hunter said, I get emails every month saying how much less my car's value is worth. I did that too, because we did, I guess it was Carvana, just to get the price. And you're right, they email you, your value went down $1,200. You're like, my payment's not even $1,200, right? Like, how'd that happen? If you're going to finance a car, this is the one area you're going to say, Jason, really? But I'm sorry. If you are going to finance a car, I really want you to put 50% down. I know right now you're going, are you joking right now, Jason? Where am I going to come up with 20 grand, 25 grand, whatever it is? I'm just telling you, a car is rarely an investment. Unless you're going back to that Mecum or Barrett Jackson we were talking about earlier, and you're buying something special, something classic. And I love cars. A car is rarely an investment. I made money on one car that I've ever purchased. And it was just because I bought it in 2020. 2022 came around and inflation went through the roof, right? That is really the only, had nothing to do with the car or anything like that. That's the only reason I made. Every other car has lost value. You trade it in, you lick your wounds, and you go on to the next one. But if you can truly tackle that debt, because nothing depreciates like a car. Now, Hunter, I know from many M0A webinars ago, you were looking to buy an airplane. Airplanes, things like that, I've done very, very well. I think I've never lost money, nor will I, right? Never lost money on an airplane deal. It's different. It's a different asset that holds its value. So that's how you have to look at things. Cars, on the other hand, it is tough. Hunter, that's right. I knew that. I did see that on Facebook. I knew that. You're right. A car is very, very challenging to do well on. I would prefer you did 50% down. I realize that's not always realistic for everybody. Okay, 40%, but let me just promise me something. You're going to avoid these buy now, your buy here, pay here kind of places and everything else. What I typically do is I actually don't even finance at the dealership. I go to my bank, and it's a little bit more of a pain in the booty, but it gives you greater negotiation leverage. Is what I do is I go to my local bank where I have a good relationship. I get my pre-approval so I know where I'm at. I know what I'm willing to put down. And then I march into the dealerships. Because you may fall in love with a car at Honda of Naples, but their financing department isn't good. And here is the biggest problem if you go that route. They do not want to lose that sale. And I had this happen to me once when I was young and naive. And they will run your credit and run 8 credit checks till they find somebody that will get you approved because they want to get that sale. And we all know what happens when you run your credit 8 different times on the same day. What happens to your credit score? In fact, every time they run it, it just goes down and down and down and down and down. This is why when I march into a dealership, first off, I've done my research. I know the car I want to test drive. I know what I'm looking at, but I come with a pre-approval letter in my back pocket. They just need to know I have it. They don't need to know what it's for. And I don't finance at the dealerships because they will run your credit and get whatever rate is advantageous. You may not believe this, but a good friend of mine has one of the largest Honda dealerships in America, actually. And his money is not made on the sales of cars. It's on the maintenance side and the financing side and other aspects of things. But actually selling the cars, very, very thin margins. So they're looking for other opportunities to make more money. And they're not all bad. Like there's some good people out there. My friend is a great, great person. But I'm just telling you, go in, pre-approval in hand, research the car you're looking for. Don't meander around. Don't get upsold, cross-sold. Don't buy that extended warranty, please. Don't buy that tire package, please. It has a factory warranty. It'll be just fine. You're going to take care of that car. You're going to keep it in the garage. You're going to baby it. At the end of the day, it's still a depreciating asset. Tonight, we talked about how debt is stealing your future if you're not paying it down aggressively. Credit cards being the worst culprit. Auto loans probably being next. And after that, your mortgage, assuming it's 5, well, let's start at 6, 7, 8%. I'm okay with 5%. 6, 7, 8%. I didn't mention student loans. Why didn't I mention student loans? I'm not anti-student loan. I'm not for student loans if you're just going to college to get out of your parents' house and working on a degree that you really don't even plan to go into that career path. I have a big problem with that because that's not setting yourself up for success. But if you want to pursue a dream like aviation or law or becoming a medical doctor, or I'm sure there's plenty of things that I'm missing here, that you need that education to do what you want to do, I'm not against it. I'm not against it one bit. So I'm not anti-student loan. I'm anti-student loan just for the sake of getting out of mom and dad's house and getting a degree in, basket weaving is the funny analogy they always give. So anyways, yeah, Hunter, debt from flight school can be totally worth it as long as you're still aggressively attacking that as well. Using the money that aviation is bringing in for you now to aggressively pay down that debt. Questions, comments, concerns? Again, as you can see, we spent 3 days kind of building the foundation, the mindset. We're going to now start diving into the tactics. I'm going to get into the same. I'm going to show you our investment portfolios. I'm going to show you really what we're doing. I'm going to help hold your hand through this, getting an IRA, getting these things all set up so you can pursue that abundance. That is what we're really after. By the way, Hunter, congratulations. Just paid it off. It was a great day. Amen. I love that. Questions, comments, concerns. Again, I'm here for you all. You want to talk through debt? Is this good? Jason, is this good debt? Is this bad debt? What is the best strategy? How do I handle this? Again, we're here to serve you with that. So again, in the comments as well. If not, tomorrow is day 5. Be back live here again. I know it's a Friday night. I know things are happening. I get it. Be back live again tomorrow night, diving deeper into it, working to create momentum in your financial journey as well. So again, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, follow right here at Moolah as well. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for day 5 as we continue to build this financial muscle, getting reps in at the financial gym and work on some more tactics to make 2025 your best financial year yet. Have a blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your day, everybody. I'll see y'all.